not to bring up my topics.
Let's bring up your topics.
Yeah,
That's what I want to talk
jump
about.
in.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, so mine was I was at the grocery store since, getting food like you do, some of it vegan,
Yeah.
some of it not vegan. And the store already was kind of had like an odd feeling. It's one of those days when you're like, you smell off and like something is off in the air. You're
Mhm.
just like, what's going on? And I'm going back to my car and I'm putting things in the trunk, putting food in the trunk. And I can see out the corner of my eye, this guy just like making a beeline, like 6 cars down, beeline towards me and my partner. And I immediately clock him, just like, no. We don't want any, because he has a stack of papers in one hand, and he had another one in his other hand. But what was weird is it didn't look like just like a flat piece of paper. It looked like it was wrapped up because the corners were also folded up, like there might be something inside of it, which to me is like sus one, because it's either a fraudster trying to give you something to put in your computer to get you, or your phone, or
Just
whatever,
been served.
or it's like full of substances that can mess with you or whatever. And I'm just like, no. Yeah. And my partner said that like they saw like crosses and other things, so it looked like maybe it's a church pamphlet, but still it's kind of weird that it's like folded up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, everyone must have. He like, here, take. And I was like, no. And yeah, he had like this thick, I don't know where, like Eastern European accent.
Yeah.
But he starts going off about like the war in Ukraine.
Oh no.
And how Joe Biden's not doing anything, and F him and some other stuff, and that all of his Russian brothers are dying. Yeah. But then also like he still has family in Ukraine, and I'm like, okay, dude, like, I already told you no, you're coming on really aggressive, like we're just leaving. So my partner gets in the car because I like distract him, and then I try to get in the car, and usually people are like, okay, whatever, I'll go to the next person. I get in the car, he puts his body between the door and my driver's seat as I'm in the car.
Wow.
And that's when I went from being like, okay, like whatever, dismissive, to being like, you're going to step out of my car because I'm about to break all the bones in your body right now. And I put like my hand on his shoulder and like pushed him up against the car. And it's just like, you have a couple options.
And unfortunately for you, I drew the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah. And I had probably like 6 inches of height on this guy and easily like 100 pounds. So I'm like, even if he was scrappy or something, I have like years of martial arts and weight on my side. He's not gonna.
Not an anime on your side.
Yeah. That's just when like I get massively bigger in the anime in the shadow in front of my face with the glowing eyes. Because my partner even like, he looks scared. I'm like, yeah, he should. But then he just like ran off to another person. I almost got out of the car to like go and be like, no, you don't, no, stop.
We're done for the day.
You're done. Yeah, you're done. Like, and it
You're
made
done.
maybe,
You're done.
yeah. And even then, I was like trying to be as nice as possible, because I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe he's protesting, maybe he's doing something, and there's a language barrier. But I'm like, you do not try and get in my car at all. Like, well, that's when the nice me is gonna stop, and the I'm gonna break you.
It has similar vibes to me. It has similar vibes to me. Like, if this is like him trying to protest, as the people who like sit in the middle of the road on the freeway as their form of protest, very similar vibes to me. Like, hey, let's not get into people's cars, and let's not sit in front of their cars.
Yeah,
those are two things that are just not good to do. I get it. I'm all for protesting. Do your thing, but I mean, do you want to get hit by a car?
Also, depending on the state, it's a felony to block certain traffic.
I say in Florida, you can just run them over now. So
yeah.
I saw an insane.
Allegedly, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
I saw an insane video the other day on Instagram, like going through reels of someone doing that, where like these people were all lined up in the middle of the road. I don't know what state they were in, but they're all lined up in the middle of the road, just like sitting there, and the guy just plowed through them. Like, all these other cars are waiting, and he just got in the emergency lane and just plowed right through.
I know that happened in California some years ago when when people were protesting and protesting on highways, and someone just was like,
Mhm.
I'm done with it.
Had enough.
Which I'll save that story for off this for the context of it.
Allegedly.
No, I didn't do it, but it was something that I was warning some classmates of mine. I'm like, you
Yeah.
can only do this so many times before people become desensitized and they just don't
Yeah.
care that you're a person anymore, which
Mhm.
is sad, but like
Yeah.
you gotta change it up. Just like a serial killer, you gotta
Mhm.
change up your methods, otherwise they catch you.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly, just like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Here at Ampersand Bucks, we do support peaceful protest.
Yes.
Just
We
don't get in
do.
people's cars.
Don't get in people's car. Don't
That's
infringe.
not peaceful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't infringe other people's rights as part of your protest. Is my thing.
Mhm.
But okay, I looked at it. The other thing, because I was listening to a podcast, and this is already an old story. It's like 3 years old, but in Canada, a woman she doesn't want them to be called witches because she doesn't think that they're witches, and it might be a bad stereotype. But she noticed that there was some strange activity happening in her backyard, and left out a dead deer, thinking that, oh, maybe it's a cougar, maybe a bear, maybe something's coming by, and her dad put up a trail cam to catch whatever was coming through. So, spoilers, you already saw the image most likely in our group chat. It wasn't a bear, wasn't a cougar. They did catch one, but not this time. It was 2 people dressed in like loincloths eating this dead deer.
Oh my gosh.
And apparently this town is like known for having people who like live off the grid and or practice like cult stuff out in the woods. So they haven't returned, but they're like, what is going on?
Fucking insane.
Creepy.
Definitely. It's got to be such a crazy thing to be the person to discover this. You're like, how do I tell people?
How do you
tell people what I just saw?
Truly a moment where they look into the trail cam and go, no one will believe you.
Right.
That's the thing I love about, like, sometimes when I do random encounter shorts and stuff, I'm pulling it usually from the news, and the world is so much more interesting than you could possibly make up with your own D&D game. Like,
Right.
just by including magic, it makes it less cool. If you're playing like a realistic whatever game, like, you know, you go to work and then you have this random encounter and your players are like, that wouldn't really happen. You're like, oh, no. Look at this news article.
I'm citing my
did
sources.
happen.
Here's my sources. It did happen.
There was like
Oh my God.
I
I'm just
call
surprised
her
it wasn't a
the
Florida man.
Lithia witch out here. Like further into Lithia, there was like a lady who had the cops called on her multiple times because she would like dart into the middle of the road on foot, pantsless, bottomless. Actually, let's just go that's everything hanging out. Cops would call, and then she would just like disappear into the woods, and they could never find her. Until one day they found like part of her body in one of the lakes, and she had gotten eaten by a gator.
What?
Yeah.
How do we know that it's the same person though?
So that's why I'm like, you know, every time I go by the lake, I'm like, pay your respects to the Lithia witch because we don't know if she's actually gone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, which half of her was still around?
I don't know. I don't know all the details about what they found. I just know that she was eaten by a gator.
I bet she's still around. Like, unless there was like a identifiable tattoo someone recorded.
Unless the cops are like, that's definitely.
A few moments later.
True. I mean, that's what she was doing.
Oh my God.
We had back in Eugene, there was a guy who every day at the same time. Yeah.
What's inside him?
A lot of stuff.
Inside of him?
But every day, it was like 3:45 in the afternoon, because what he would do is he would ride his bike through his old bus route, because he used to be like a bus driver, and he'd just be like, fuck LTD, fuck U of O, cocksuckers, fuck yeah. And that's like all he would yell as he
Nice.
just rode his bike through campus and then
Peaceful
back and
protest.
stuff. And then eventually people people would get frustrated when they didn't know what was going on, but there'd be that breaking point at a certain part of the school year when everyone's just yelling it back to him. And they're like, fuck LTD, fuck U of O, fuck Phil Knight. Hell yeah. And so like you just hear like a cacophony of people as he's yelling.
Gregorian chant.
Yeah, just fuck LTD. Like everyone, and you hear the wave coming. And you're like, fuck yeah. I don't know what happened to him. It just stopped one day. We'll never know.
I think we know what happened to him.
Probably no. It's Florida Gators. But no, I honestly love the eccentricities of local